Hello and good afternoon friends, welcome once again to CEC-UGC live lecture. Dear friends, in this session of ours, as you know, we always talk about the science subject, and in continuation to our previous series on animal diversity non-chordata, we discussed about various organisms under different categories. Today also we are going to learn about more organisms, and the two categories we are going to discuss. One is on phylum Annelida and another is on Mollusca. This is the another category, and for this we have again with us in our studios Dr. Renu Gupta. She is Associate Professor in Department of Zoology, Ramjas College, Delhi University. So first of all, I would like to welcome our guest Dr. Renu Gupta, and ma'am, as in previous lectures, you helped us in identifying various organisms, various categories we learnt about. Today also, we would like to learn more on this topic from you.
Hello Geetika, and hello viewers. Again, I am going to welcome you on this series of lecture on animal diversity. And as I already told you in my previous lectures, that all the animals on this earth can be divided into two main categories, and that is non-chordata and chordata. And this distinction is on the basis of presence or absence of one structure, which is called as the notochord. And this notochord is the precursor of the vertebral column. If the animals are going to have the vertebral column in the adult life, they are called as vertebrates, and we know them by other name of chordates. But those animals which do not have any notochord, they are called as non-chordates, and obviously they don't have any vertebral column in their life. So non-chordates, some of the animals we have already discussed, starting from protozoa up to the platyhelminths, and that distinction of the animals or putting up of the animals in different categories is on the basis of various fundamental features like symmetry, number of germ layers, pattern of development, and the other similar characteristics. So in the previous lectures we have talked about the animals which we put them under the categories of acoelomates, pseudocoelomates, or diploblastic animals or triploblastic animals. Today we are going to talk about the first of all with the phylum Annelida, to which belongs the animals which can be called as the coelomates. It means the animals which are going to have a true coelom or the body cavity. So the first phylum in today's lecture is going to be the phylum Annelida. Phylum Annelida, as the name suggests, Annelida is a word derived from the word annulus, and the literal meaning of the word annulus is ring. It means the body of annelids is made up of number of units or ring-like structures. These ring-like structures are called as the metameres, and these metameres are all similar in structure, and they are having the repetition of the different systems of the body. So annelids are called as the segmented worms, and the body is composed of similar segments called as metameres. This phenomenon is called as the metamerism. These annelids are varied in habit. They can be terrestrial, marine, or freshwater. Body is triploblastic. It means they are having three germ layers: ectoderm, mesoderm, and endoderm. They have got a true coelom. True coelom, the body cavity which is internally lined by the mesoderm. Then their body is having number of septa, and the other feature is that the body is provided with number of structures which can be called as bristles or setae or called as the chetae. If we talk about the integument of the annelids, integument outermost layer is composed of a single layer of cuticle which provides protection, and after that comes the layers of the epidermis, and epidermis is followed by the muscle layers. First of all, there is a layer of circular muscles, and followed by the layer of longitudinal muscles. So, body is highly muscular, and this muscular body helps the animals in the locomotion. If we talk about the different systems, like the excretory system, they have got the structures responsible for excretion called as the nephridia. And as I told you that body of annelid is made up of number of segments, generally the number of nephridia is varied, and every body segment is having one pair of nephridia. About the respiration in annelida, respiration is generally through the skin. There is simple diffusion of oxygen and exchange of gases can take place. Carbon dioxide is evolved out. In many cases, like they have a structure called flattened structure called as parapodia, and many of the tube worms have got some modified gills. Circulatory system, generally they have got a closed type of circulatory system. It means the blood is going to flow in well defined blood vessels. They have well developed heart for pumping of the blood to various organs of the body. The blood is going to flow in the arteries and veins. Generally the respiratory pigment is the hemoglobin, the function of which is it carries the oxygen to the various parts of the body. Regarding the nervous system, they have got a brain in the head region. The position is dorsal, and from the brain generally a nerve cord arises which is ventral in position, and this ventral nerve cord bears one ganglia in each body segment. There are a number of endocrine organs, and the hormones are secreted by the nervous system. About the reproduction, they have got both the types of individuals. In the annelids category Oligochaeta, which means the earthworms and the leeches, the animals are dioecious. The animals are monoecious. It means the sexes, both the sexes, male and female, are present in single individual. But in case of the Polychaeta, the organisms or the annelids are separate, male and female are separate, and they have got specialized organs for the reproduction. This is a diagram representing the general body plan. Outermost covering is the cuticle, internally lined by the epidermis. Then there is the circular muscle layer, longitudinal muscle layer. In between we can see the complete digestive tract, and below that is a ventral blood vessel, and on the sides is the parietal peritoneum. The phylum Annelida is divided into three classes. These three classes are Oligochaeta, Polychaeta and Hirudinea. The very common example for Oligochaeta are the earthworms, to which we all are familiar. Then the example for the polychaetes, most of the animals or the worms, they are found in the sea water, they are marine worms, and to the class Hirudinea belongs the leeches, which are the ectoparasite, and they are famous for sucking the blood from the body of vertebrates. In class Oligochaeta, there is reduced head, but chaetae are present, and in class Polychaeta, they have got a well developed head. Every body segment is having flattened appendages which are called as parapodia, and in Polychaeta the worms are present in different kind of habitat. They are found in burrowing in the sand of the seas, or they make their burrows which may be in the form of tubes, and therefore called as the tube dwelling annelids. Leeches, generally body is flattened and they have got a reduced coelom, and segmentation is also reduced. The chaetae are generally absent, and they have got well developed suckers at both the ends, anterior and posterior, and they are either the ectoparasites or they are the predators. Oligochaeta name is derived from the by the fusion of two words. Oligo means few and chaeta word stands for the setae or the chaetae. These setae or the chaetae are small bristle-like structures which are made up of chitin. They arise from the epidermis, and because of the presence of these few seta, the animals are put in the category Oligochaeta. So, earthworms have got few setae on the body, and the function of the seta is that they help the animal in locomotion. In case of oligochaetes, the earthworms, they eat their way through the soil. They are the burrowing ones which burrow in the soil, and they help the farmer generally by this habit of burrowing and eating the soil. So, generally the mode of nutrition in case of earthworm is they take up the dead organic matter which is present in the soil, they swallow this dead material, this reaches their alimentary canal where the digestion of food material takes place, or the complex organic material is broken down into the simple organic forms. The simple organic material is going to be ejected out through the anus along with the feces of the earthworms, and these are generally called as the earthworms castings, and these earthworm castings make the soil fertile. And because of these two things, one is the burrowing which brought about the aeration of the soil, and second is by mixing of the earthworms casting in the soil, soil is again made fertile, and earthworms are generally called as the farmers' friends. These are not coming. In case of these earthworms, if we look at the body plan, the outermost covering is again of the cuticle, and in the body we can see the complete alimentary canal. These are some of the examples of the terrestrial oligochaetes. One variety of the earthworms is called as the red worm, and the scientific name for this is Eisenia. These days, these Eisenia or the red worms are being utilized in a process which is called as the vermicomposting. So, vermicomposting, which is very popular these days as a method of solid waste management or the management of the waste which is biodegradable. It means the waste which is generated either in the kitchens or in the gardens or in the agricultural forms in the form of plant debris or the cuttings of the grasses or the food waste like the waste of the fruits or the vegetables or any leftover food material can be degraded in the environment with the help of these red worms, and the result is a very good type of compost which is called as the vermicompost. So, the method is very simple. These earthworms are being taken and layers of this biodegradable material along with the layers of the grasses and the cow dung is made, and a number of earthworms are being left over in these layers of these different materials, and after a few months time they are able to decompose all this material into an environment friendly compost which is called as the vermicompost, and this vermicompost really helps in the good growth of the plants. This vermicompost can be made even at home and even in the small gardens with the help of a skilled labor. There are variety of oligochaetes which are present in water. Some of them are called as the tubifex, which live in the tubes, and their posterior end generally emerge out and they keep wagging their tails and they take oxygen by making a movement in water with the help of their tails. Second class of the Annelida is class Polychaeta. So, the literal meaning poly means many and chaeta means the bristles. So, it means the polychaete's body is covered over by number of bristles. So, this is a contrast with the oligochaetes where only few bristles are present, but the polychaetes have got number of bristles on their body. they have got one more special feature. The structure called as parapodia are present or attached to every body segment of a polychaete. So these paddle-like parapodia, because they are flattened structure, they are richly supplied with blood, they function as gills. It means they help the animal in respiration and they help the animal in swimming and locomotion. These are the parapodia, fleshy appendages on each body segment provided with the setae which emerge out as stiff bristles from these parapodia. The parapodia have got a well developed head which was not present in Oligochaeta, and head is provided with the sensory appendages called as the antennae and one more pair of sensory palps. They have got feeding appendages on the head, and after the head the body, which is called as the trunk, divided into number of segments and provided with the parapodia. These polychaetes have got different type of habit. Generally they burrow in the substrate and they secrete a lot of mucus. They make burrows with the help of the mucus, with the help of sand grains, and they animals or the polychaetes which live in the tubes made by the sand grains and mucus are called as the tuberculous polychaetes. In the marine environment, number of polychaetes are found, and all these polychaetes have got a well developed head with the peristomium and prostomium provided with number of sensory appendages. These polychaetes live in the tubes which may be in the form of a L-shaped structure, and when they live inside the tubes, only the anterior part of the head which is bearing the tentacles, number of tentacles, filamentous structures project out of the opening of the tubes. With the help of these tentacles, the animal is able to feed, and this mode of feeding generally with the help of tentacles which is going to filter water through them is called as the filter feeding. Many of the animals live in the tubes which are in the shape of the U, English capital letter U, and they are generally present at the bottom of the tube, and water passes through one end of the U-shaped tube and goes out of the other end of the U-shaped tube. So along with the water current, the food particles also enter their burrows and they are going to supply the food particle to these worms. There are one more example like of this fan worm. Here we can see the tentacles are present in the form of a fan. The tentacles provided with lot of side branches which are forming structures called as radioles, and through these radioles the water is going to be filtered and the food particles pass along the food groove and transferred to the mouth. There are again these examples, one of the Polychaeta, the parchment worms. The parchment worm comes from the fact that their tubes are made up of the membranous material like the parchment, and that's why the example of the Chaetopterus or the parchment worm, again the anterior and posterior end project out of the tube and the rest of the activities are going to take place inside the tube. In polychaete reproduction, one interesting feature is there. These polychaetes are dioecious. It means male and the female animals are separate, and the mode of reproduction is by means of a phenomenon which is called as epitoky. The gametes are generally formed during the breeding season. The anterior part of the worm remains asexual, which is called as the atoke, and the posterior part of the worm is called as epitoke. It gets completely flooded with the gametes. In the case of males, the sperms are going to be present in the epitoke segments, and in case of female, the ova are present in the segments of the epitoke region. At the time of swarming, it means at the time of mating, these males females come together in large number. They generally swim to the surface of water, and epitoke segments are going to be broken off from the main body. It means the atoke is going to be separated from the epitoke. Thus, these epitoke segments, as they are completely having or completely filled with the gametes, after the bursting of the epitoke segments, the ova and the sperms are going to be released in the environment, it means in the water, where the fertilization is going to take place, and these, after fertilization, the zygote is going to be formed, which will settle down at the bottom and start developing into the embryo. The third class of the Annelida is class Hirudinea, and this Hirudinea, the members are generally we know called as the leeches. So, in class Hirudinea, the Chaetae or Setae, which was characteristic of the previous two classes, they are absent, but they have got two additional structures which are called as the suckers. One sucker is present at the anterior end and the other sucker is present at the posterior end. These suckers help the leeches in attachment to the body of the prey and in the sucking of the blood. Generally, the leeches are found in fresh water, but some of the leeches are also found in sea and some are present in the moist soil. If we look at the leech, they have also number of segments on the body, but the number of segments are generally restricted. One feature in the alimentary canal of the leeches is that they have got some storage structures which is called as the crop, and this crop gives off ceca in different body segments. Ceca are the enlarged prolongations from the crop. We know that leeches are the ectoparasite feeding on the blood, and once they feed, they have a complete feed of the blood. They can survive for months without any feeding. The blood which is taken in one meal, it is going to be stored in the crop and the cecae of the crop. Generally, at the time of feeding, these leeches secrete the saliva, which is having an anticoagulant. Because of the presence of anticoagulant, the blood is not going to coagulate and there is a continuous flow of blood to the alimentary canal of the leeches. Leeches are hermaphrodite. It means the both male and female sexes are present in single individual, but fertilization is generally the cross fertilization, and during copulation there is exchange of gametes, and after fertilization has taken place, the development of the young one takes place in a kind of cocoon which is an egg case, and this development is similar which is found in the case of the earthworms. Here we can see some of the examples of the leeches. It is a leech which is big enough in size, maybe of the size of the arms of human being, and these leeches feed on the blood of the vertebrates, blood of the fishes, amphibians, as they are present in water. When they are present in fresh water, the cattle, generally these cows and the other cattle, when they go inside the water, these leeches catch hold of them, they get attached to the skin of these animals and start feeding on them, and after having a complete meal, they are going to leave the body of their parasite, their body of the host, and then they can rest for about a month. So these were the different annelids put under the category of Oligochaeta, Polychaeta, Hirudinea, and we are aware of them, we know lot of things about them. One variety of the leech is Hirido medicinalis, and it is used for the medicinal purposes also. In the previous times, it was one method of treating different kind of diseases, in which people believed if a leech is going to attach to your body, it is going to suck the impure blood and your body will be free of the impure blood. So this was a belief, but these days also one kind of treatment has been started with the use of the leeches. Next category of the coelomate animals, that is phylum Mollusca. Phylum Mollusca, very common examples, the snails, slugs, octopus, squids, oysters, and I think every human being who have visited sea is fond of collecting the shells from the sea beaches, and these shells are nothing but the shells of the animals belonging to phylum Mollusca. Phylum Mollusca is the second biggest phylum after the phylum Arthropoda among the non-chordates. There are about 90,000 living species of the mollusk, and from the records it has been found that about 70,000 species of mollusks have already become extinct. The word mollusca refers to the word mollis, and mollis means soft. It means the mollusk possess a soft body, and this soft body is generally protected by a well developed shell. Various examples of these mollusks include the largest invertebrate, which is a giant squid which can go up to a length of 20 meter and the weight is around 900 kg. These mollusks, they have got variety of habit. They may be herbivores, feeding on the alga growing in water, and they are predators, filter feeders, or many of them are the parasitic forms. Regarding the habitat, they are found in fresh water, they are found in sea water, they can be found in moist water as well. So they are generally the burrower type of animals. If they are present in water, they may be found in the sediments of the sea. Economically, these mollusks are very important. Everyone knows about the pearls, and pearls are formed naturally in the mollusk called as pearl oyster. Snails and slugs, which are commonly found in the moist surroundings, even in our gardens, they act as the garden pest. Some of these snails are used as the food, and many of the snails are acting as the intermediate host for the parasites. Like the helminths, we have talked about the flukes, in which snails are the intermediate host for these parasites. If we talk about the structural body plan of the mollusk, they have got three distinctive structures. One is the muscular foot, second is the visceral mass, and third is the mantle. So all the mollusks have got a well developed foot for locomotion, and the rest of the body structures like digestive system, reproductive system, and the other structures, gills for respiration, all of them are grouped together into a structure which is called as the visceral mass. And this visceral mass is covered over by a covering which is called as the mantle. This mantle generally secretes the shell. So foot, shell, mantle and visceral mass is the characteristic feature of all the mollusks. The mantle is serving two functions. It is providing protection to the visceral mass, and secondly the mantle is secreting the shell. The shell, which we generally say or we associate with these mollusks, may be absent in some of the mollusks. All the mollusks show bilateral symmetry. They have got a well defined head. So presence of a well defined head is called as the cephalization, and along with the head they have got sensory structures on the head. They are in the form of the tentacles, they have got well developed eyes, and the body is covered over by a ciliated epithelium. The mollusks generally have got a complete digestive tract. It starts with the mouth and then it leads into the esophagus, dilating into the stomach, intestine, and finally opening out through the anus, which is present at the other end of the body. With the digestive system, they have got a specific structure which is called as the radula. This radula is a scraping organ. As I told you, many of the mollusks are herbivores, they feed on the vegetation. So from the mouth of the mollusk, a chitinous structure which is present in the form of a ribbon-like structure project out, which is called as the radula. And this radula can be compared with the grater which we use in our kitchens, the grater which we use to grate the vegetables into finer pieces. So the same function is performed by the radula of the mollusk. It is a chitinous structure, means a hard structure having a number of rows of the teeth. So when the food is going to pass over these teeth like projections, it is going to be grinded into fine particles, and with the help of these teeth, the animal is able to scrape the algal material or the other vegetation from the hard surfaces. Every row present on the radula is provided with number of teeth, and number of teeth is variable and it is fixed for a particular kind of mollusk. For the respiration in case of the mollusk, they have got well developed lungs, as most of the mollusks are aquatic. Whenever any animal is present in water, the respiratory structures are always the gills. These gills are well ventilated and present in an area where water keeps on flowing over them. When water flows over the gill, there is exchange of gases, oxygen is being taken in and carbon dioxide is being given out. In mollusks, the circulatory system is of open type. It means they don't have closed blood vessels. They have got a well developed pumping organ, that is the heart, which helps in the pumping of the blood to various parts of the body, and the blood is going to be deposited into spaces or the sinuses, and after that it is transferred to the gills for oxygenation, and once the oxygenation has been taken place, it will be again pumped back to the heart, where it will be circulated to the rest of the body. In the case of the large size mollusks, like the examples are the octopus and squids, they have got closed blood vessels and therefore the closed circulatory system. For the excretion, the excretory waste is generally in the form of ammonia, and they have got well developed nephridia for the removal of the ammonia. In some cases, like in cases of snails, we say that well developed kidneys are present, which is a modification of the nephridia for the removal of nitrogenous waste from the body. In case of the mollusks, they have got well developed nerve cords which are generally paired, and these paired nerve cords bear a number of ganglia. The ganglia present in the head region called as the cerebral ganglia, ganglia present over the visceral mass called as the visceral ganglia, and other ganglia which are associated with the intestine called as the supraintestinal ganglia and the infraintestinal ganglia. The ganglia present in the foot region called as the pedal ganglia, and the ganglia present in the mantle are called as the pleural ganglia. So these different pairs of ganglia are connected by means of the paired connectives, and from these ganglia the nerves are given off, which are going to supply the structures present in the nearby areas. About the reproduction and life history, most of the mollusks are dioecious, male and female sexes are separate, but some of the mollusks are also hermaphroditic. After fertilization, generally a free swimming larva is going to be produced, and the characteristic larva for the mollusk is called as the trochophore larva. The larva is a free swimming form, and for the swimming they have got a band of cilia wrapped around the body. In other mollusks, like in the bivalves, they have got another larva which is called as the veliger larva. If we talk about the classification of the mollusca, they are put under 6 different classes: Monoplacophora, Polyplacophora, Scaphopoda, Gastropoda, Bivalvia and Cephalopoda. This classification is generally on the basis of the shell or the basis of the other structure present in the body. Class Monoplacophora, the example is Neopilina, and as the name suggests, mono means single, placo stands for plate and phora stands for bearing. It means the shell is made up of a single plate, or the animals bearing a shell made up of single plate. So in this case, the body is dorsally covered over by a plate which is the shell, and ventrally the body is having a foot in the center, and on the sides number of gills are present in paired forms. The second class, which is class Aplacophora, A means absent, placo again for the plate, it means the mollusks where shell is totally absent. Their body is elongated and worm-like, and they are generally found on the bottom of the sea. The third class, Polyplacophora, the examples which are called as the chitons. Poly means many, placo for the plate, it means the shell is made up of number of plates, and number of plates is fixed, that is 8. In case of Polyplacophorans or the chitons, which are the examples, dorsally the body is covered over by a shell which is made up of 8 overlapping plates. The visceral mass is covered over by a thick mantle, and on the ventral side there is a broad foot, and around the foot are present number of gills projecting in the form of finger-like projections. Generally the chitons are herbivorous type, and they have got a well-developed radula to scrap the algae and other food items from their environment. This example of Polyplacophora, the Catherina, it is showing the dorsal surface as well as the ventral surface. On the dorsal surface, we can see the 8 calcareous plates, and on the ventral surface, the most of the part is being occupied a flat muscular foot surrounded by number of gills. The fourth class is class Scaphopoda, and the example for this is Dentalium, which is commonly known as elephant's tusk shell. As we can see in the slide, the shell is resembling the elephant tusk. It is a tubular shell which is having an opening on both the ends. One end is narrow and the other end is wider. So the water generally passes from the wider end and goes out through the narrower end. In this case, the head is reduced, and from the broader end of the shell comes out a conical foot, and this conical foot helps the animal in burrowing the sand. Along with the food, we can see a number of elongated structures which are called as the capticula. These capticula, which are thread-like structures having the sticky endings, having disc-like structures which are having some kind of adhesive secretion, they are being taken out or drawn out in water, and on the sticky ends of the capticula the food material, the food particles get stuck, and then the capticula are being taken inside the visceral mass, where the food is going to be transferred to the mouth. The fourth category is the Gastropoda, and the name Gastropoda, gastro means the stomach, poda for the foot, and generally the positioning of the stomach is near the foot. They have got well developed shell. Snails, slugs, and the other animals which we generally called as the coddies or the sea hare, they all belong to Gastropoda. So in case of gastropods, the shell is made up of a single piece and they entirely cover the body of the mollusk. Shell is generally spirally coiled, they have got a distinct head and they have got well developed radula. The gastropods, the different examples where the spirally coiled shell is present, and if we remember or if we are familiar with the shank which is being used for in the temples for blowing, which is found to be a religious ceremony, that is also a shell of a gastropod. The gastropods, as present in the variety of habitat, they can be terrestrial or they can be aquatic. They are found in the moist surroundings. They have well developed head with two pairs of tentacles, and when they walk on their foot, they generally crawl, we can say, very slow mover, and they carry their shell along with them. In case of the garden slugs, the shell is absent and they can be recognized by a pair of tentacles present on the head region. One interesting feature which is found in case of gastropods is the process of torsion. Torsion is the twisting of whole visceral mass at an angle of 180 degree so that their mouth and anus come on the same end. It means mouth and anus present at the same end on the anterior end, and this feature of torsion is characteristic of the gastropods. But in many of the gastropods, as the torsion was of no use, it has been followed by detorsion. Among the gastropods, well developed gills are present, and these gills, commonly known by the name of ctenidia, these ctenidia are present in the mantle cavity. They are highly vascular, well supplied with the blood vessels, and as water keeps on flowing in the mantle cavity, they keep flowing over the ctenidia and exchange of gases take place efficiently. They have got well developed nervous system, they have got well developed eyes, and they have a structure which is called as the osphaeridia, which is characteristic of the gastropods. Osphaeridia is an olfactory receptor. It is used to check the quality of water in which a snail is present. It is present at the opening of the mantle cavity and it checks the chemicals present in the surrounding water. If the water quality is not good, the mantle cavity is going to be closed and the animal moves away from that place. Reproduction about the gastropods, they have both the varieties, like they have the hermaphrodites where both the sexes present together in the same individual, or male and the female sex are separate. Generally the external fertilization takes place as ova and sperm are going to be discharged into water. In case of snails, development is direct, it means no larval stage, but in some cases a veliger larva is present. The next class is class Bivalvia, and in the characteristic feature is the shell is made up of two valves which can be closed and open. They have very soft body, head is absent. As head is absent, they don't have the radula also. The bivalves generally having the two valves and these two valves can be opened or closed by means of well developed muscles which are called as the adductor muscles and abductor muscles. Variety of bivalves are present in the sea water. They are present in the form of the oysters, shipworms, clams and the mussels. These familiar examples, the freshwater clam, the scientific name is Anodonta. The shipworm, which is a serious pest, is called as the pterido. The oysters, as I told you about the pearl oysters. The scallops, the scientific name is pecten. They have got two siphons on their body. One is called as the inhalant siphon and second is called as the exhalant siphon. So through these siphons the movement of water takes place. Through the inhalant siphon the water is going to taken in, and after passing over the gill the water goes out of the body through the exhalant siphon. The freshwater clams are sensitive to the water quality. They can sense the water quality and many times they are being used as the indicator of the pollution. In case of bivalves, they have got the foot, the muscular foot in the form of a hatchet, and therefore many times the bivalves are also known by the name of Polyplacophora. The foot, which is in the form of a triangular structure, extend out from the space between the two valves, and it helps the animal in anchoring in the soil or the sand, and the blood is going to be forced into this foot, which provide a kind of rigidity to the foot, and the animal moves about with the help of this foot. In case of bivalves, the digestive system is complete and they have got a kind of stiff structure present in the stomach, which is called as the digestive style. This digestive style gives off the secretions having number of enzymes which help the animal in feeding. In case of reproduction, they have got a well developed veliger larva during reproduction and development. This veliger larva is a free swimming larva, and when it has to change into the adult, it settles down at the bottom and then changes into the adult. In case of the freshwater bivalves, there is one more larva which is called as the Glochidium larva, and this larva get attached to the body of the fishes and being taken to places along with the fish, and when it has to change into the adult, it leaves the fish and then settles down at the bottom. The familiar examples, oysters and scallops. This is an example of pearl oyster where the pearls are going to be produced. The pearl formation is a natural phenomenon. As I already told you, the mantle, which is the specialized body wall covering the visceral mass, which helps in the secretion of the shell. So if a foreign particle, may be any small animal or the particles, sand particle or particles of the shell, come between the shell and mantle, it is going to be taken as a foreign particle, and mantle start active secretion. It tries to engulf that foreign particle and it secretes the concentric layer of a shiny material which is called as the mother of pearl around that foreign material, and during the process of this enveloping of the foreign particle, a pearl is going to produce in a period of 3 to 4 years. The shipworms, the pterido, a serious pest, it get attached to the bottom of the ships and make holes and damages the food to a large extent. The last class of the mollusk is Cephalopoda, as the name is made up of or made by the fusion of two words, cephalic and poda. Cephalic word stands for the head and poda for the foot. It means the poda which are present here in the form of arms, it is present on the head region. So, the literal meaning is head bearing the foot. Foot is modified into two structures which are called as the arms and a funnel. The familiar examples, the octopus and the squids. So, the number of arms in octopus 8, and in case of squids and the cuttlefish, the number of arms is 10. Along with the octopus and squids and sepia, cuttlefish, we have got one more example for it, which is the nautilus. This nautilus is having a well developed shell. This well developed shell is made up of a number of chambers. Internally, the shell is having number of chambers. The outermost chamber is the largest one, where actually the animal lives, and all these chambers are filled with a gas, and with the help of that gas, this nautilus is able to float in water. The outer covering of nautilus is shiny, many times called as the pearly nautilus, and many of the poems have been made on the beauty of nautilus. The next example here is the sepia, which is called as the cuttlefish. If we look at the sepia, externally there is no shell, but internally the body is supported by a plate-like shell which is calcareous in nature. The number of arms in sepia, like the squids, it is 10. The arms are provided with rows of suckers, and they are the active predators. So, the body of squids and the sepia, the cuttlefishes, it is internally supported by the shell. If we look at an octopus, which is having 8 arms, all the arms provided with number of suckers, these arms are being spread out in water, and with the help of these arms they are able to capture their prey. The octopus and the cuttlefishes, they have got a very interesting feature. If they have to hide themselves, or if they have to make an illusion to their predator or to their prey, they give out a dark color fluid which is called as the ink, and ink is going to be given out from the funnel so that the surrounding area becomes dark. The animal is not able to see them, and under that dark cover or the dark curtain, they just move away from that place. Many of the cephalopods, they show the feature of bioluminescence. They generally shine at night, and these, among these octopuses, there is one more feature, that male and female, during copulation, one of the arm of the male is modified and it is used to transform the sperm bundle into the body of the female. So, males and females can be seen in the sea mating, and where the exchange of gametes is going to take place. The deep water cephalopods, where there is no light, they generally show luminescent organs, they shine, they provide a beautiful picture, and they have got this ink sac for their own protection. So, variety of animals, so many interesting features associated with them, and I think everyone is amazed about these creatures of nature.
Definitely, ma'am. After seeing the pictures of different organisms, we are amazed to see that there are so many organisms with which we are not aware of. But through this lecture, I hope all the students who might have watched and who might be watching would now be aware of all the organisms. So, ma'am, we have completed the this non-chordata part.
Still not, as I told you, variety we say, though we see large size animals, but the variety of the non-chordates is enormous. So, in tomorrow's lecture, we are going to finish off with this, and we are going to discuss 2 more phyla, which are the Arthropoda and Echinodermata.
Definitely, I would like to tell all the students that Dr. Renu Gupta would be again with us tomorrow, and she would be discussing more organisms under non-chordata portion. So thank you, ma'am. Thank you so very much for being with us.
Thank you, Geetika.